There's a lot going on in the universe that we cannot see, even with our orbiting telescopes. But we can feel the effects of it. We can feel gravitational effects, gravitational waves. We can feel dark energy and dark matter pulling on our solar system, pulling on our galaxy. Our Earth, for instance, goes through what's called the precession. The imaginary line that goes through the Earth from the North to South Pole draws a circle through the zodiac. We are about to finish that 26,000-year precession. December 21st, 2012 starts the age of Aquarius. It's well marked on all kinds of calendars, not the least of which is the Mayan calendar, the sunstone. Well, besides being the end of the precession, a lot of the ancient writers believed that there would be some cataclysm that occurred at that time. Many of us believe that it won't just occur on that day, that there will be precursor events, an increase in volcanoes, an increase in earthquakes and their intensity, fluctuations in the magnetic field around the Earth. One of the things that occurred last year in October was something that's never occurred before. We had 9 X-class flares. We have a scale that we measure solar flares on. X is the highest. 9 flares in 1 month. The peculiar thing was sunspot activity was very low.
The precursor events you're talking about, weather changes, earthquake fluctuations, storm intensities, these all seem to be occurring at a much more frequent rate as each year passes. Last year, within a 6-month period of time, we had 2 level 9 earthquakes in the same area. Last week, we had a level 5 hurricane with 195-mile-an-hour winds in Australia, way above the level 5 norm. It would have been a 6, if there is such thing as a 6. Massive storms are appearing everywhere. 13-foot falls of snow in Japan this last winter within a matter of a few days.
Crushed thousands of homes.
It's unbelievable. The amount of storms and the amount of events that are happening every year seem to be escalating more than the year before. Let's say hypothetically something is coming this way. Let's say it's coming now, and being very far away, it has a very slight gravitational effect on Earth. And each year that it gets closer, the gravitational effect on Earth is slightly greater than the year before. And that is directly or indirectly causing the increase in frequency and the increased intensity of storms, earthquakes, all sorts of weather anomalies around the planet. If that's the case, would it not stand to reason that Earth is not alone? Because we have other planets in the solar system. This thing would just naturally, it's not picking on Earth, it would affect all the inner planets.
And it does.
Is it?
Yes. Several planets in the solar system are experiencing global warming as we speak. For instance, we've had a satellite going around Saturn now for 18 years. We've been making measurements of Saturn for 18 years. In those 18 years, the atmospheric pressure of Saturn has changed 30%. If that occurred on Earth, there'd be no life left. It's believed in the center of every galaxy there is a giant black hole, a massive spinning black hole around that keeps all these stars. We're talking maybe tens of millions of times the size of our sun. Maybe have long since collapsed in on themselves because of gravity. But the force that they exert on all the bodies in this galaxy probably would make it function. According to conservation of momentum, sort of like an ice skater, when she pulls her arms in, she spins faster and faster and faster. That's what black holes do too. Most theoretical physicists agree today that black holes are evolving at their maximum speed. But even that centrifugal force can't overcome the gravitational pull. That still makes a very high frequency ripple in space-time created by that gravity all in one spot.
But that ripple would be along the black hole's diameter.
The big ones actually flatten out like a plate or a donut. So
And so its diameter, well, it's now flat.
it would be radially. It's a radial gravitational wave that goes out.
So theoretically, if the center of our galaxy were a giant black hole, and our spiral arms are rotating, and all the stars are captured within the gravitational pull of the giant black hole in the center of our galaxy, being that large and moving at high speed and being much flatter, its radial gravitational wave could potentially be a wave that would extend the entire width of the galaxy.
Or beyond the galaxy.
That being the case, the significance of the year 2012 becomes very evident then, because on that date of the year 2012 is the date at which our solar system passes through or passes into that exact plane.
It's not going to be night and day. Years before that occurs, we will see the effects as that is sort of like a undertow and then a wave. So that's what we believe, the evidence of what's happening on the surface of the planet and beneath the planet, inside the planet. That's what we believe is happening now. Sort of the undertow effects of this gravitational wave as it builds.
So this wave is basically stationary with respect, well, let's say the galaxy as a whole, let's call it stationary. It represents a plane, the plane of the galaxy. Our solar system is moving closer and closer to that plane right now. It actually touches the center of that plane on an upcoming date.
That's correct.
Because the Mayan calendar apparently is built based on that galactic plane, you know, from 3114 BC to 2012.
Correct.
You know, where the Earth moves through that plane.
Right.
Could passing through this plane cause all the effects that have happened in the past?
I think so. I think so, yes.
Could passing through this plane account for anomalies such as the sun setting in the west, rising and then setting again, as documented in some of the ancient Chinese texts?
Yes.
We have all these asteroids, which could have been a planet.
It most likely was a shattered planet.
90% of the mass of what they believe was the planet is gone, leaving only 10% as an asteroid field. That's what a number of astrophysicists are saying. Where did it go? If the solar system passes through and you have these gravitational waves that move through, it may move much more quickly and readily, these
Smaller bodies with less inertia.
yeah, and push them by the Earth, push them into the Earth, or push them out of the solar system entirely. So slowly over time, the asteroid belt leaves the solar system. It's pushed out. In a similar fashion, that cosmic dust outside the last orbit of our planets gets pushed in through the solar system and gets locked into the polar ice caps.
You know, somebody asked me one time what it would take to end the technology of the Earth. You know, one big electromagnetic pulse would take out all the electronics on the planet. Some kind of event that took out most of the population on the coast, which is about where most of the universities are. And now you have all the people that know how to do stuff gone.
Yeah.
And, you know, sure, I know how to drive a car. I know how to, you know, work steel, but do I know how to mine iron and smelt it and do everything that it takes? No, we diversify our societies into specialties. Those specialties are lost. The technology degrades in no time.
A doctor would still try to perform brain surgery, you know, and he'd do the best he can with, you know, a knife made out of rock.
Or obsidian.
Yeah. It's, you know, and you know, there's those sorts of things are left over. You're instantly thrown into the Stone Age. Do you believe that this cataclysmic event will happen in the future?
Yes.